Even though that they say we've migrated from paper documentation to using online documentation, there's still a lot of things that we need to document on the papers. So I also advise you that you pick those papers. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Ifimos, and some other people may know me as Blessing. You're welcome back to my channel. If you are just seeing me for the first time, welcome. And this is a channel where I talk about nursing in the UK and everything about transition or migrating from your country to do a nursing job in the UK. Sometimes I also talk about the care job as the spirit leads. So this video this morning, hello. So this video is I think I thought it out that it would be nice for me to actually put up a video trying to explain some things, so like tell you some, you can call it a nugget or whatever, but then it was actually a thought out after I was given my own study bodies. I was made a study support for some of my study bodies, the new international nurses coming into the workforce, coming into the UK NHS, you understand? So it's a kind of culture in my own trust that when they come the professional development nurses, they apportion to them, they divide them into groups and then give you your own bodies to support, give you your own candidate to support in their transition from their country, trying to adapt and fit into this NHS workforce, you understand? So after getting my own candidate, I was like, there will be no time when I will have to gather them together and say, okay, come together, let me show you step by step. And sometimes our duty may not match. I may be in morning duty and you'll be coming for night duty and vice versa. So, and then we may not have the time to sit down together and talk face to face. So I thought out, I said, it would be nice if I actually compile a video where I tell you what you should actually look out for, what it is like. Now this video is gonna cover information starting from when you first enter the world till you set your feet very firm on the ground of NHS work. Now I know it is very a strange thing and a very hard thing to do, migrating from your country with different culture and then coming into a different environment. There's gonna be a lot of culture shock that you will notice. Things are done differently where you are coming from. So it's a difficult situation to see yourself in a different environment where things are done differently. And then sometimes we get overwhelmed and some people will start thinking out like, did I make mistake of coming here? Oh, I would have stayed back. Oh, what actually pressured me into coming here? But I don't think it's something abnormal, because almost every one of us that came here years ago felt the same way. I was in that shoe few years ago, or should I say few months ago, because I'm not that old here anyways. So I was also in that shoe, but now look at me. I'm like, oh, whatever comes, we can do it. I can do it. That's the spirit. So this video is the kind of support. First, shout out to those given to me as given to me for me to support them. You understand? They actually kind of made me make this video unconsciously. They don't know, but they've made me make this video. And then shout out to all the new international nurses who are just coming to the UK and those who are still trying to adapt to the whole thing. You will be all right in no time. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you is this. Starting from the time you are let off from your apartment where I don't think we do isolate these days, do we? I don't know how they do it, but when we came in, we isolated for 10 days, and after that we started doing some things. We got our BRP, and then so that we start moving around, bank appointment and everything. The next thing is pastoral visit to our different hospitals. Now I think the process is different. I don't think they do isolate anymore with the changes in the COVID rules and regulations. So once I think this time around they are being let into the world immediately once they come, right? Now when we came, they had to take us through the process of teaching us manual handling. manual handling, but they didn't give us, I don't think they gave us a SAT. I think you just have to do it and then update it. And then before we came into the world, my experience was quite a difficult one and a different one, because I was first in the theater. And you know, in the theater, first of all, the manual handling is not so much pronounced. Like, we don't do it like all the time when you are still trying to scrub and all that. And but it's necessary, because you have to roll the patient, you have to tend the patient and all that. But then with time, I noticed that I needed to sign my competencies. That was why theater experience is wonderful, but that was why I have to move from the theater to the ward area. So but now, coming to you may be pushed into the ward once you come, not to work, but just to see how things are being done. Now, when I was preparing for my OSCE, I was fidgeting. I was very scared. I literally was crying every day inside me. Do you know, the day of the exam, I and one of my colleagues, we were crying in the reception at Northampton. No, Northampton. We were crying there. The receptionist was trying to make us relax, telling us stories about her wedding coming up. She's going to attend a family wedding and all that. But yet, we are literally crying. So that's how tense and how pressurized and how scared this thing used to be. And while you are preparing for the OSCE, they will also take you to the ward to see a different thing altogether. You see a lot of people. It's like a marketplace. It's like a mad zone, you understand? So there's just a lot of things going on so fast at the same time that sometimes we get carried away. Like, some of us get scared and start questioning ourselves. Are you sure I'm up to this? I don't think I can do this. Now, the thing is that while you are preparing for your OSCE, they will send you to the ward to come and do some kind of pastoral visit and see how it is. Your manager will welcome you to the ward, or maybe if your manager is not around that day, the nurse in charge will welcome, or your matron, will welcome you to the ward that day. So they will show you around. Normally, in the NHS that I'm used to, there are always stations when you come to a different, or let's say that this is ward ZF, this is ward ZF. You're welcome to ward ZF. First of all, you see a station. It may be the station 1. They will introduce you to the matron. There's also station 2. There's also station 3, sorry. Some used to have station 4, and as many as possible that they can contain. Those stations normally used to contain 2 bays, side rooms, as many as it can, differently for each ward. So this is what you're going to see. And then the matron or your line manager or the nurse in charge for that day will take you around and show you to the staffs and ask the staff to speak to you, tell them about your experience, introduce you to them and all that. And then you will see those things for the first day, and then they'll allow you to go into one of the station and tag along with one of the nurses on that day to work. Now, that is totally fine. Then you will start learning. Don't try to learn everything in one day. Just take it easy, and there are a lot of things for you to learn. There's actually a lot of things for you to learn. But this morning, I'm just trying to tell you that the normal way we do things, for you to adapt, to help you understand what we are doing. Because very soon, once you pass your OSCE and your result is out, you pass your OSCE, you are just a nurse on your own. You start, okay, first of all, you'll be a supernumerary, right? Yeah. Even while waiting for your OSCE and all that, you are a supernumerary. But once you come to the world, I think they give a tag, hi, I'm new here, so that someone will not come to ask you to do something that is not within your scope, and then maybe out of ignorance you do it, and then you get into trouble. Nobody's gonna cover your ass. Sorry. So they will give you that tag for everybody to know. Normally, the supernumerary thing, it lasts for weeks or more, 3 months to 6 months, as long as it can. You understand? So this is a period where they give you the time and the opportunity to tag along with another nurse on a station. They can't give you a station to your whole self, because you still need to do your medication training. You still need to do your manual handling training. There's a lot of training for you to do before they can be able to ask you, okay, you can manage your own station on your own. You understand? So those supernumerary stages, is very important in your transition, in your adaptation process, because it is when you set to learn some of the things that are happening in the world, you have to sit down and learn. Not sit down, sorry, you have to be careful, observe, that's the right word. You have to observe what is happening in the world as the nurse work, and you will come in contact with different nurses that work with different method, and different method that works for them, you understand? So you have to this is the period you look and observe, and then figure out what works for you. So in the morning time, what we do when we come around 7, but you should be there before 7, because handover starts exactly at 7, and by 7:30 the handover should have finished. You get your own key, and then you have your own station. Some people have 6 patients, some people 4, some people 8, some 12, some, I think that's the maximum, right? So for one nurse anyways. So when you get your own patient and your station, so you have your key, the first thing we do in the morning, you have to clean where you want to work, right? You get your computer, you clean, you make sure it's charged. You get your computer, you clean. When you clean, and then you get your medication trolley, open it up. It must always be locked, depending on the ward policy. There are some people I know that they have suffered some punishment because they came and their medication locker was open, or they left it open, or it was scattered. It has to be neat all the time. So so when you open, you do your medication. You do your medication. Then depending on how the ward is that day, maybe you've known these patients for so long, you know the medication they are on already. You can start with doing some documentation, trying to go through their papers, or it depends on you anyways. But I don't know what documentation we'll be doing in the morning, except maybe you work the other day and then you couldn't finish up your documentation. Then you just want to tidy up, and then so when you start working, you will notice that you're a bit slow, you know, because when you look into the medication trolley, there's a lot of things going on there. I must tell you, just trying to find out one medication might take you 20 minutes if care is not taken anyway. So one of the first demon you will encounter as a new international nurse is trying to find out where medication is in the trolley, not just the whole trust, in the trolley alone. So it will take you time, but to help our nurses, we sometimes organize it and arrange it alphabetically, A, B, C, D, E, L. But sometimes there are nurses that don't pay attention to this, that they scatter it. So make sure that each medication you pick, you check the expiry date. Please make sure you check the expiry date. Then you start dispensing your medication. Well, after serving your medication, and now I'm telling you that within your few months in the NHS, when you start working on your own, you will be quite slow. You'll be quite slow, but it's no trouble. Try to always improve. If you've got a mentor, this is what you have to discuss with your mentor. So you will start medication when you must have passed your medication training, oral medication and all that. So after medication, the next thing we do is while doing medication, the CSW will start with their washes. They try to wash the patient, give them a bath in the morning. Now, this is where the logic comes. Do your supernumerary time. They will ask you to help the care support workers, or HCA as they are called in other trusts. They will ask you to help them. Some nurses will be like, no, I can't do this. Carrying bedpan, commode and all that. I can't do this. This is not, I'm a band 5. Though your pay slip will be showing a review body for band 3, as the case may be. Band 3 or 2, as the case may be anyway. But you will be like, I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for so years, and then here you want me to, it's not in my duty. My dear, it is your duty. You better get used to it. You will carry a lot of commode, you will carry a lot of bedpan. So better get used to it. Now, I've seen nurses say that they don't want to do it because during their supernumerary days, they were put at CSW, but they don't want to. If I were you, I would just calm down and learn the CSW work, because the time will come where they will put you alone on a station with just one nurse. I don't know where you work. Anything is possible in the NHS. They'll put you alone on a station with one, you just a nurse, and then a CSW, you and a CSW. If I don't know what I said before. I think I made a mistake. You and just one support care worker. Now, if she's to go and do the washes, who will help her? Is it not you? Assuming that there's no help anywhere coming, is it not you that will help her? Now, if you don't know how to do those things, how can you direct? and how can you help? You understand? So you have to learn those things for yourself. And if you don't learn those things and the documentations they do, how will you know as a nurse that your documentation are up to date and they are doing the right thing? Because if they come to say, this documentation was not done, who is the care support worker and who is the nurse? Because you oversee what they are doing. So you understand why it is important that you calm down in your days of learning and learn those things, and don't be like, it is not in my line of duty. My dear, it is your duty. Excuse me. All right, so let's move forward. So while you are doing your medication, the care worker will start washes, and then when the breakfast come, will also serve breakfast. Even the band 6 and band 7, they do help to serve breakfast. They do help to carry commode. Then what more of a common band 5? All right. So after washes, breakfast. Now, when it comes to breakfast, something very important that I want to chip in is there are something you may see on the board. Be careful of patients they send you by mouth. Please try, when you come into the ward, try to understand what the board is saying, and then don't feel that you'll be called silly if you ask a lot of questions. Try to find out. In fact, in my ward, I can beat my chest to say that majority of the nurses there will be happy, and the CSW and the TNS will be happy to explain to you whenever you ask them. They love talking, they love teaching, they love it. So ask. There is nothing like a silly question. So continue asking. You see, that board is not for the CSW, it's also for you to learn it. You will see a lot of things on that board that you don't understand, but continue doing what? Continue learning it. Continue learning it. Then on their board, at the back of the patient, at patient bedside, there's also something written there. You also need to know it, so that you don't go to serve tea or breakfast to a patient that is supposed to be new by mouth. Though sometimes some of them they will tell you that, oh, I'm sorry, I'm new by mouth, but there are some that may have dementia and will not remember. So you need to remember for them. So when you come to serve breakfast, example, you look at the board and you see level 2. What does that mean? You start asking questions. It took me months for me to understand what that means. I have to go for the training first before I could understand, because I think nobody was able to explain to me, or maybe it was a language barrier, because I couldn't hear everything they were saying when I came newly into the Black country. I think Black country is one of the most difficult English to understand, to hear first and understand, because the way they speak their own English, by the time they finish answering you don't even know when they've answered you. So it took me a lot of time for me to understand what they meant by levels of fluid. So now level 1 is, there is this thing that when they put the patient on level, when they say the patient is on level 1, level 2, level 3, as till 7 or all that, it means that maybe they have a swallowing issue. They're at risk of having maybe they have difficulty in swallowing, and then they're at risk of having maybe the water go the wrong track and then cause issue. So they put them on a level to drink a thicker fluid that will just take time to just go down slowly, and not just like a normal fluid. You understand? So level 1 means there's a thickener used to thicken the water. So when you get the thickener, there's a small teaspoon in there, a small cup in there inside the thickener. Just take one fluid, add to the water and turn it around. It will thicken the water to level 1. If you add 2 spoons, that's level 2. 3 spoons, level 3. 4 spoons, level 4, and as the case may be. So that's what they mean by level. It is actually one of the things you might encounter as a supernumerary or as a nurse just coming into the NHS for the first time. You understand? So now that you've known this one, then we move forward. After the breakfast, the medication while they're having their breakfast, and then the next thing is to, by that time, it may be around 10, 9, depending on how fast you are. I'm saying this thing is in case, as in, I'm talking if all things remain equal, this is how the work is supposed to flow, right? So after that, the next thing you should be looking at is to find out who needs to be observed, whose own is due, because we have 3 hourly, 4 hourly, 8 hourly, 12 hourly, BD, as the case may be, and end of life, no ops. So who needs to be observed? Also take notice of your poorly patient. When the nurse is handing over to you and they said this is a poorly patient, the first thing you should do once you start your duty is to do what? Grab your ops machine. First of all, check your poorly patient. Know they have a baseline for when you started work, how they feel. I think few days ago, I got a poorly patient, and the nurse handed over. He's been scoring. Another thing you hear about scoring, don't worry, you will take time to understand that one. When it means the new score for the patient is higher than it's supposed to be, and it will trigger a sepsis process, and they will keep calling you to see what you've done for those things. So the patient was scoring, but the nurse said that that the doctor is aware. They called the doctor and they said no and all that. But I wasn't satisfied. So when I opened the computer, I noticed that the patient is still scoring. And I don't like that red color. So I went to the patient bedside to serve medication, and immediately, I don't know, I just said, let me just check on this patient. Let me just check on this patient. I know him previously, but let me just check on him. And then lo and behold, the blood pressure was 70 something over something. I did it again. I did it in 3 different places on his body. Nothing. It wasn't improving. That was when I knew that there's a big trouble. So I have to call the nurse I was working with anyways. And then we called the nurse in charge. And then we started resuscitation. We pulled out the emergency booster. And that was how luckily for us, when we came the next day, the patient has been transferred to the intensive care unit. So imagine if I didn't dictate it on time and then something goes wrong. I'm going to be in a hot soup. You understand? So whenever they hand over a poorly patient to you, first of all, do what? Take the ops at least as a baseline. Yeah, that's the most important patient at that time. Take the baseline and then you continue your observation. And then you also notice that some of the patients here in the UK, they have the culture of taking their medication. They take their medication very well, but there are some, they will say that they need assistance. That means they'll have to slow your work, because you have to stop to either assist them to do what? Take their medication. So that is it. So after medication, the next thing you do is observation. From observation, you record. Then you go to your paperwork to sign what the patient has taken for that morning. And then by 12, you should be able to balance your fluid and do the VIP. VIP is the visual. You did it on OSCE, visual inspection febritis. I've forgotten what it means, but you understand what I mean. So when you shake their cannulas to see the one that needs to be changed, a cannula in our trust, in the trust where I work, it stays 0 to 5 days, right? Or else there is an indication that this patient is very difficult to cannulate, and you have to ask the doctor, do we take it out? If they say yeah, take it out, you take it out. If they say no, let them document for you that they're happy to keep the cannula in, because this patient is otherwise very difficult to cannulate, and they don't want to put him through the process of finding another vein. So other than that, take out the cannula on its 5th day. Take it out, because to avoid increased chance of infection. So VIP is done. Catheter open. Catheter is drained. For you to balance your fluid balance around 12, right? You empty the catheter, you balance, you ask the patient how many cups they've had. The cups are numbered depending on your trust. There is 200 mils, there is 40 sip for 125, there is Renopro, there's everything. So you calculate and know what is in there. If you don't know, ask question. And then after doing that, the next thing, you ask patient about bowel opening, who has opened their bowel and all that. And then by this time, of course, the ward round must have started and all that. You must have taken some notes. One point I want to note is this. One thing that really helped me during my own time is that I used to have my paper with me, a plain paper with me, where I write down to-do list. It helps me. Because in the evening, you will start feeling inadequate. I don't know if any other person feels that way. In the evening, you'll be like, what have I done? Because when you are handing over, that's when you start seeing things creeping out. Oh, I didn't do this. If you're the kind of person that like doing a lot of things, not a lot of things, like you want to feel good after work, you want your patient to be happy, you want to be like, oh, I was able to achieve this, I was able to achieve this. If you do that, I don't know. So in the morning, I do pick a piece of paper. In fact, when I was a supernumerary, I have a note like this. The person that mentored me, what they call it, preceptor. my preceptor asked me to get a note. Actually, that note will help you when you do catheter care, when they teach you anything, because some of us will still need to sign off your competency book. Let me assume, but any nurse can sign for you. You understand? But before any nurse will sign for you, they would like to see. If they didn't do that thing with you, they're not going to sign it for you. You understand? So let me assume you do catheter care with nurse A during your supernumerary days. Take your diary and write date. On the 21st of August, I did catheter care with nurse this. See what I learned. So that when you bring your competency book and say, oh, nurse A, can you sign for me? She will say, no, I didn't, but I didn't teach you that. You say, yes, you did. You bring it out and say, on so day, you taught me this. She will be very happy to sign for you. You understand? But if you didn't do it with anybody, and if you do it with them and then you didn't record it, how can you prove it? So have your own diary. And then you can also use it to store abbreviations. You will see a lot of abbreviation. And you can also use it to write down things that you need to go home and check later, because you will hear a lot of things that you will not understand. You understand? So what was I saying? The word round must have started and you have taken down notes. And like I said, I used to write down my to-do list as they're handing over to me and writing down what I'm to do and what is creeping out in doing the shift that I need to do, and what in the word round they've said that the next need to do. So that's how you build up your day. And then after the word round, of course, you have to go for your break, have your break, come back, and then continue from where you stop by carrying out those things they ask you to do in the word round. It can be any of those duties which I cannot be able to mention here, because as the day goes, there's a lot of training you'll be taking for you to be able to do those things. And then by that time, afternoon will be creeping in, and then you start organizing for your afternoon medication again. And by this time, as a supernumerary and all that, you may not have been able to start doing IVs until you have your IV training. So the nurse in charge will always be happy to help out. But for you to also help the nurse in charge, it's good to also write your IVs on a paper and submit to her, so that everything will be faster. So after your afternoon medication again, the next thing we do, we also serve tea and all that. And after that, you continue with whatever that it needs attention, attending to patient. Believe me, that I'm not saying it out what you need to do is because I don't know, each shift is unique. There's not even time for you. Sometimes you don't even find time to go and have your break. But just know that those missed time, they don't pay you for those times. So you really need to have your break. So that is what I'm trying to say. So after the after the afternoon one, the next time you are serving your medication will be in the evening. So we serve medication 3 times officially. Though a new medication can be ordered, and then a patient can say, I'm in pain and I need this. So medication can be served anytime. Okay, so in the evening you serve again your medication, and then of course you work on your handover, you do your ops again. You also do ops in the afternoon. So we do ops morning, evening, and morning, afternoon, and evening. Now it depends on what frequency of observation your patient is. Like I mentioned before, we have to there are people who can monitor. If a patient had a fall, you know the fall protocol. Then there are others we monitor 3 hourly, 4 hourly, 8 hourly, 12 hourly, and all that. So it depending, but I believe you must have people you do their ops morning, afternoon, and evening. Then by 7 you must have tidied your work. Okay, because by 7 you are seated, handing over to the night duty nurses. And I don't know if I've covered quite a lot, but this is actually, I think, is a thing, right? But I'm gonna do another video as the day goes by to add things that I remember to this. All right. So guys, before I finally finish, there's also another thing I just remembered I haven't said. During my supernumerary days, I was asked to always pick, because there's a lot of, even though that they said we've migrated from paper documentation to using online documentation, there's still a lot of things that we need to document on the papers. So I also advise you that you pick those papers 4 fall papers, fall prevention papers, pressure ulcer prevention, admission papers, and a lot of papers, you know, that you need to understand what we're actually doing on it. Take it home and then try to read and go through it. You understand? Read and see what it's all about. Read it and then understand, and then also ask questions. Do you know, during my time, there was also some of my off days I used to go to the ward to go and study about pressure ulcer, to understand it better. Not that I've mastered it now. I still have issues on trying to classify it, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4, and then unstageable. But at least it helped me. I remember my line manager giving me those mirrors to look under heels, which I don't even know where they are right now. So, and then to learn about all, it's a different environment. It's different from what is obtainable where you are coming from. I must tell you, UK nursing is a lot of protocol. It's same thing. Nursing is same everywhere. But if you cannot, if you go 1 mile to do something in your country, you have to go like sequence of stages for you to do the same thing in the UK, which will still make us arrive at the same point. But what I'm trying to say, you need to study those things, because you will be blamed if you fail anything that you've been trained on. You understand? And then also, when you make mistake, don't just be afraid of making mistake, but don't make mistake like you are born to make mistake. Try to avoid making mistake. But if at all you make mistake, it's a part of learning. Don't feel so bad. Don't feel downcasted. Do a lot of reflection. I did a lot of reflection with my line manager when I came into the trust. Each mistake, I do reflection. There are some that you will make that will make them to cross you off some of the things that you've been doing before. They can take away medication given from you. You go for the training again. But always try to do a reflection on your mistake. It will help you to learn and heal faster. Okay? But this time I don't do reflection anymore, because by God's grace, I can't remember the last time I did. But during that few months I started newly, oh my God, I was like everyday reflection. I was like, God, what am I doing? But now I can see that I'm okay, I'm fine. It was just a part of learning. So with this now, I think I've left you with just a little tip of what you will see, which if I saw someone that did such thing for me when I was newly, I would be great. So guys, I'll see you in another video to give more tips if I've got more. Okay, thank you very much, and keep looking out for videos from this channel. Thank you very much. I love you. Bye.